A $250 million fumble, China renaming one of its mountains because of the movie, and having cell phones nailed to the wall if they went off during shooting. Pandora is a planet full of hidden little details, and we're diving deep into them all. These are the cinema secrets you missed in James Cameron's Avatar. The star who missed out on $500 million. We start with the most shocking of all Avatar secrets, the decision made by movie star Matt Damon. James Cameron initially offered the lead role to Damon, sweetening the deal with an unheard-of perk: 10% of the movie's profits. Damon declined due to his commitments to the Bourne franchise. Avatar then released in 2009 and went on to gross over $2.7 billion, which meant that Damon gave up an estimated $250 million payday, arguably the biggest salary a Hollywood actor never earned, and that was only for the first movie. This is a legendary what could have been, especially as that number would only have risen with The Way of Water, and then again with the upcoming Fire and Ash. More likely, Damon missed out on $500 million. It highlights Cameron's confidence in Avatar. He was willing to share a big chunk of the profits. It also shows the unpredictable nature of casting. Avatar might have had a very different feel with a superstar in the lead. Something having an unknown like Worthington helped audiences accept Jake as everyman. For Damon, it's a reminder that even A-listers can second-guess their choices. CGI cigarettes. Avatar is no stranger to using CGI images and movements. However, an intriguing detail is shown anytime Sigourney Weaver takes a puff. Whenever you see her smoking or with a cigarette in hand, it's CGI. The cigarette and its smoke are entirely digital effects. In filming, Weaver pantomimed with a toothpick or empty fingers. Later, CGI artists added a realistically smoldering cigarette, even matching her inhales and exhales. We can see this clearly in a deleted scene from the movie, The Jungle Boot Camp. If you think the actors looked comfortable in the wild, it's because James Cameron gave them no choice. The most method moment of the production didn't happen on a soundstage, it happened in the Hawaiian rainforest. Before filming a single frame, Cameron flew the entire main cast to Kauai and forced them to live in the jungle for days on a sense memory odyssey. And this wasn't just a camping trip. Imagine A-list stars like Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington running around the rainforest half naked, wearing fake plastic tails and ears, catching fish, and drinking water from leaves. They were essentially playing Survivor with prosthetic alien ears, likely within eyesight of confused tourists at the nearby Four Seasons. Cameron claimed it was to build tribal unity, but honestly, the mental image of the cast cooking in underground fire pits while wearing fake tails is almost crazier than anything in the actual movie. The hidden American flag. A visual metaphor shown is when Jake first meets Colonel Quaritch in the Ops Center. The backdrop of Quaritch's briefing area subtly resembles the US flag. The wall has evenly spaced horizontal blinds lit by bright light, and in the upper left corner, a solid rectangular vent creates a stars and stripes layout. It's as if the walls themselves form an American flag behind Quaritch. This visual Easter egg reinforces Quaritch as a symbol of American militarism and colonial power. Fingers and eyebrows. An on-screen detail is how the human-made avatars differ subtly from true Na'vi in anatomy. Jake's avatar has 5 digits on each hand and foot, whereas the native Na'vi have only 4 fingers and toes. Additionally, avatars sport human features such as eyebrows, which the Na'vi lack. Imagine how much more expressive his face must have been to the Na'vi. These traits come from the human DNA in their hybrid bodies. For instance, in one scene you can spot Jake's 5-fingered hand in contrast to Neytiri's 4 when they intertwine their hands. This detail visually marks Jake as biologically different from the Na'vi, even when they appear similar. It's a world-building clue that proves avatars aren't 100% Na'vi. Next up, we have the Omniscient Scanner. When the medical scanner examines Jake's body, we notice a subtle detail. It scans only the upper half of his body. As we know, Jake is a paraplegic. The machine also seems to know this, sensing no neural activity or function below the waist. The equipment is aware of his condition, reflecting how future tech might adapt to users. Jake's limited in his human body and also able to be restrained in his avatar, as the next secret highlights. Being restrained by the ponytail, not the hands. James Cameron and his crew thought constantly about creating a living ecosystem on Pandora, as well as principles and habits among the Na'vi clan. This is reflected when Jake's avatar gets taken into the clan as a hostage. Instead of cuffing or binding his arms like humans do, they restrain him by grabbing his swin, his ponytail. In Na'vi biology, the braid is highly sensitive and a source of great pain if tugged, essentially immobilizing without the need for rope or chains. This showcases a subtle difference between human and Na'vi biology. It highlights how vital the swin is in Na'vi culture, literally a lifeline. Speaking of the hair, check out the next secret detail. Jake's hair growth. Jake's human hair grows in film. In the beginning, he appears with a buzz cut. At the end, his hair is messy and shaggy, indicating significant time has elapsed since arrival. The film spans at least 3 months. Instead of relying only on dialogue, Cameron shows time's passage organically through Jake's appearance. The old screenwriting advice: show, don't tell. Marine mountain scaling. The Ichneumaya sequence was one of the most iconic scenes in Avatar. When former Marine Jake climbs the dangling vines up to the Banshee, he employs the S-method rope climbing technique. Unlike the Omaticaya hunters who climb with agility using primarily arm strength and a simple foot grip, Jake's method is taught in the US Marines, so he uses this method, wrapping the rope around one leg and foot in an S shape for extra support, inching upwards securely. It's a brilliant bit of character consistency. Jake may be in a new body, but he still thinks like a Marine. Jerking around. When Jake wakes up in his avatar body, he curiously swishes his neural braid around and even lifts it to examine the tendrils. Watching this, Grace chuckles and warns, "Don't play with that, you'll go blind." It's a quick, cheeky line that might fly over younger viewers' heads. The joke references a common older saying, uttered to discourage teenage boys from playing with themselves. Prehistoric roars on Pandora. In key creature sequences, notably the Thanator chase scene, you may have heard something familiar. The Thanator's screech and roar sounds were inspired by the classic movie Jurassic Park. Likewise, the dire horses make snarling and clicking sounds that are modeled on the velociraptors. Famed sound designer Christopher Boyes worked on both films, so depending on how you look at it, it's either a fun tip of the hat or straight up lazy. For some viewers, it's an enjoyment-enhancing Easter egg, that I recognize that roar feeling, while for others, it works subliminally. Coming up, another secret that pays homage to the past. Blind appreciation. When Grace's team first arrives on Pandora and steps out of the shuttle, among the team is Norm Spellman, who you may notice wears a dark cap. On the brim of the baseball cap is a Braille inscription which spells out a number: 1969. This is the year of the Apollo 11 moon landing, making it a pure Easter egg. It's a fitting tribute to space exploration history and humanity's giant leap. Norm, as a scientist, would appreciate that legacy. It suits his nerdy character to wear a hat commemorating the moon landing. A Stanford avatar. A personal Easter egg. When we first meet Grace's avatar, she's notably wearing a Stanford University tank top and continues to wear the top in several scenes. The logo isn't random. It's a nod to Sigourney Weaver's own alma mater. Weaver graduated from Stanford in the early 1970s, and it was her idea to have Grace's avatar sport the Stanford gear. It serves as a subtle character detail suggesting Grace either studied or taught there. Do you think Grace got a special size shirt for her avatar before she even became one? Let us know down in the comments. The Lorax's cameo. An intertextual reference appears in the extended cut of the film when Grace is shown in the schoolhouse at Hell's Gate reading Dr. Seuss's The Lorax to the kids. Grace uses the famous environmental cautionary tale as a lesson for the Na'vi kids learning English. Although not in the original, this detail perfectly aligns with Avatar's central theme of environmentalism. The Lorax essentially faces the same conflict the Na'vi face against the RDA. By including this, Cameron draws a link between our world and Pandora while showing Grace's instilling respect for nature. While the Lorax parallels the story, the next secret foreshadows it, foreshadowing the end at the very beginning. In the opening shot of the theatrical cut, we hear Jake Sully's narration over dreamy imagery of a blue-tinted forest, before transitioning to Jake emerging from cryosleep inside a pod filled with blue light. This image is strikingly similar to the final scene of the movie, Jake's eyes opening in his new Na'vi avatar body after his consciousness transfer. It creates a bookend. The opening image subtly primes the audience for the idea of Jake waking up to a new life. He starts literally immobile, contained behind glass and reliant on machines. By the end, he opens his eyes free and fully alive as a Na'vi. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like and subscribe. The Na'vi evolution. Have you ever stopped to think about the Pandoran wildlife's anatomy? Specifically, their limbs. Nearly all indigenous animals have 6 limbs. In contrast, the humanoid Na'vi and avatars have the human standard 4 limbs. The Prolemurus, a lemur-like monkey, holds the clue. The blue arboreal creature has what looks like 2 arms, but in reality it's a 6-limbed creature with 2 arms fused. It implies that Pandora's intelligent humanoids might share a common ancestor with 6-limbed animals. Essentially, the Na'vi are the evolutionary odd ones out on Pandora, and the Prolemurus is the missing link demonstrating the genetic evolution in the species we see. If the theory is correct, it would prove Cameron's extreme dedication to internal consistency. The Na'vi, having 4 limbs, may be motivated by the need to make them relatable to humans, but he still seemingly justifies it within the story's science. The obscure name. Unobtainium is the valuable mineral the humans are mining on Pandora. Many viewers chuckled at the term unobtainium, thinking James Cameron just made up a cheesy name to signify a super precious, unattainable resource. It sounds almost like a placeholder joke. However, it's actually a long-standing in-joke in engineering and science circles. Since the 1950s, unobtainium has been used to refer to any material that perfectly fits a given requirement but either doesn't exist or is prohibitively expensive or hard to get. The film's use of it is a nod to that idea. Knowing the real-world origin of the term makes its use in Avatar way less goofy. The seemingly lazy name is actually grounded in tech slang. Now that you've obtained this knowledge, consider leaving a like. A touch of Greek mythology. Throughout the film, learning through visuals and in lore dialogue, we learn that Pandora is a moon. In several shots, you can see a huge gas planet dominating the sky. That's Polyphemus, the planet which Pandora orbits. Polyphemus is named after a cyclops from Greek mythology. True to its name, the planet has a giant storm eye at its equator, much like Jupiter's Great Red Spot, but ring-like, hence the name. Thus, Pandora, which is also named after a Greek woman, is a moon under the watch of a one-eyed giant. Cameron laced Avatar with mythological references, enriching the story's subtext. Polyphemus having one eye and being a looming presence ties into the theme of perception and seeing. Recall the Na'vi greeting, "I see you." The name Pandora itself is also a great fit. In myth, Pandora's actions unleashed hardship, just as humanity's arrival on Pandora brings destruction. These mythological nods add a layer of depth. A dream come true. During the long journey of developing the film, Cameron was inspired to make the Na'vi blue-skinned, in part, by a dream his mother had described to him. Years before Avatar was made, Cameron's mom dreamt of a 12-foot-tall blue woman who had 6 breasts. Young James found the image striking and it stuck in his mind. So when developing the look for Avatar, he recalled that dreamy image. He didn't give the Na'vi multiple breasts, but the blue skin and the immense graceful figure became core to their design. Cameron has openly talked about this familial dream being a spark for the Na'vi's appearance. Cameron's precious mother planted the seed for the idea, but another precious would drive him to bring it to life. Saved by the precious. James Cameron first wrote a treatment for Avatar in 1994, after completing True Lies. He had the story and world in mind, but the technology to realize photorealistic blue aliens and an entire CG planet wasn't there yet. Rather than compromise, Cameron shelved the project for over a decade. Fast forward to the early 2000s and the release of The Two Towers. That film showcased Gollum, a fully CG character acted via motion capture. Seeing Gollum's believable integration, Cameron was convinced that technology had caught up enough to make Avatar. He has said that those examples of compelling photorealistic CG characters in a real-world setting gave him confidence to proceed. So he then dusted off the script, assembled a team, and began the gargantuan production that became Avatar. Peter Jackson's achievements paved the way for Cameron to go bigger. It also highlights Avatar's role in cinema history. After Avatar, performance capture and 3D world building became much more common, but it took a visionary to take the risk at the right time. A real language. The foreign words you heard spoken by the Na'vi and scientists are not gibberish words, by the way. They're actually part of a fully constructed language. Cameron hired linguist Dr. Paul Frommer to create the language from scratch. Starting in 2005, Frommer developed a full language with a unique sound palette, grammar, and over 1,000 words by the time the film was done. The inspiration, or similar structures and dialects, came from elements in Polynesian and African languages, but are entirely original. Like the previous secrets, it adds to the dedication and attention to detail, creating immense authenticity to the film. Rather than using exotic-sounding phrases, having a real language means the dialogue can be translated and make sense if you're determined enough to learn it. Are you determined to subscribe? If you are, you'll enjoy the music of the next secret. Otherworldly instruments. Braveheart composer James Horner literally crafted an otherworldly sound by incorporating newly invented instruments and global music elements in Avatar's score. He didn't want the music of Pandora to sound like a typical orchestra from Earth. He wanted it to sound almost alien. Horner scoured the world for unusual instruments, such as deep primitive flutes from different cultures, including a blend of South American and Finnish flute-like sounds. He then invented custom instruments to create unique tones that didn't exist. For example, he mentions programming instruments that combined qualities of a gamelan with flutes to produce a magical glow in the sound. The immersive power of Avatar owes a great deal to its audio landscape. Horner's approach made Pandora sound as unique as it looks. This was not a cookie-cutter science fiction soundtrack. It also means the Na'vi chants and songs felt authentic to a culture we've never encountered before. from living in a car to starring in Avatar. When James Cameron cast Sam Worthington, the Australian actor was virtually unknown in Hollywood. Worthington even revealed that just before landing the role, he had hit rock bottom. He sold most of his belongings and was living out of his car in Australia. Disillusioned with his life, he had considered quitting acting until he got the audition call for Avatar. The studio flew him to LA. Cameron saw something he liked in the no-name actor and gave him the lead role in the biggest film of all time. Even during audition callbacks, Worthington didn't have a permanent address. Producer John Landau recalled they struggled to reach him at one point because he was away camping without cell reception. Practicing what you preach. James Cameron is a vocal environmentalist and vegan. During the production, he enforced a strictly plant-based menu for the cast and crew on set. No animal products were served. Cameron did this out of principle. Avatar's story champions living in harmony with nature and respecting life. So he wanted production to practice what they preached. This has been confirmed in interviews, articles, and he and Landau have mentioned this in Q&As. Cameron became an even more outspoken vegan activist in the 2010s. Phones holding up production. More of an apocryphal this time, Sam Worthington confirmed that a standing rule on the Avatar set was that no phones were to be used during shoots, otherwise they would be nailed to the wall. Cameron admitted he'd definitely use the nail gun if it came to it, but not in an emotionally enraged way. "I would do it in a calculated theatrical way. That's the beauty of my reputation," he said. "I don't have to shout anymore because the word is out there already." Moving on to the final secret in our countdown, and it is possibly the most bizarre of the lot. An entire mountain renamed. The design team based the look of Pandora's floating mountains on the stone pillars in China's Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. The film, as we know, went on to be the highest-grossing film of all time. This success inspired China to rename one of those pillars. The southern sky column is now known as Avatar Hallelujah Mountain, because according to the park, it's the pillar that inspired Cameron the most. So, which was your favorite secret? What's your take on the life and details within Pandora? Let us know in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more secrets to be revealed in our upcoming videos. Until then, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.